Campbeltown Loch. Can Springbank's most accessible product really live up to the hype? Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm taking a look at Campbeltown Loch, a product that is not officially Springbank, but actually does have it written all over it in quite a few places. If you're not familiar with this, it is a blend. It is a blended Scotch whisky, which I know will put some purists off immediately, but hear me out here, because this might be the only way to get that proper Springbank experience without carting yourself hundreds of miles and spending hundreds of pounds in the process like I did just a few weeks ago. The evidence of that is up there behind me. But on that trip, I also got this bottle because I was intrigued. I've seen it for sale for a while, and to be honest, I just haven't bought one because, well, it's easily available, and that is kind of the thing when something's not rare. You don't tend to go looking for it. But yeah, Campbeltown Loch, this is a blend done by Springbank, but not named Springbank, with the exception of actually it's on the bottle, weirdly. I'll show you the bottle in a minute. But it's a blend of whiskies from the Campbeltown area that includes Springbank, which is a good thing. Springbank actually did the work, the legwork is why it's on the bottle. But it's also got their other distilleries, so Kilkerran, Longrow, the other one, Hazelburn, of course. And it also has some stuff in from Glen Scotia. So basically all of the active distilleries and brands in Campbeltown right now, although when you watch this that might have changed because there are some new ones opening up there. But yeah, all of them at the point in time, it is all of them put into one bottle. Why? Well, I've got a few theories. One is just to bolster the idea of Campbeltown being its own whiskey region. I know that Campbeltown a few years ago kind of got said, well, actually you've only got 2 active distilleries and you kind of need 3 officially to make a region, which seems bizarre because if it's distinct and its own thing, I reckon you probably need 2, to be fair. But anyway, there's still only 2 owners down there, but it doesn't matter. They are different distilleries, at least in some cases. So yeah, so that kind of bolsters that there's another product on the shelves, not just Glen Scotia. And I say that because despite Springbank owning the majority of those brands that I just mentioned, actually buying their stuff is incredibly difficult. It's very rare, it's just hard to get. So bringing this out means A, that their name is more out there even in the kind of, well, not quite supermarket level, but you can get this in a lot of whiskey shops without too much faff. And B, well, it just gives you the opportunity to experience some of those Springbank flavours without spending over the odds or whatever else. And of course, the reason they're able to do that with this blend is because, well, it's a blend. They are putting together whiskies from lots of different places, and as a result, they have more stock to go at to make more bottles of it. And of course, that means they're not just relying on excess Springbank barrels, which, let's be honest, are few and far between. Right then, a quick look at the bottle. So the clues that it is from Springbank. We'll start off. On the lid there, J.A. Mitchell & Co. They are the people that own Springbank, Hazelburn, Kilkerran, Longrow, etc. Then you can see actually embossed into the bottle there, it does say Springbank Distillery, and that's because it is actually blended at Springbank. And then on the side, just there, it also says blended and bottled at Springbank Distillery, Campbeltown, Scotland. Otherwise though, it's a very nice looking thing. Look, I mean, that label is not dissimilar to some special edition Springbanks, it has to be said. But it looks nice enough. There is some info on the back, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, let's get a drop poured, shall we? Now, I picked this bottle up not at Springbank when I was there, but at Whiskey West Coast, an independent bottle shop just north of the Campbeltown area. And I do need to kind of say something about it. I flagged it in my video that I did last, well, a couple of weeks ago now by the time this comes out. But I said that I overpaid for this bottle. The truth is, I don't know if I did. I assumed that I did because of what I paid in that shop for this and 2 cans of beer. It's entirely possible that the beer was horrifically expensive, but I don't think it was. So I'm not really sure is the truth, but this retails at about 40 quid in most places, which will last you a lifetime because it's impossible to get into. I have an implement on the matter. That was satisfying. That is a properly dark Scotch for something that is non-age statemented. Now, I have no doubt that there's probably some bourbon barrel influence stuff, some sherry cask possibly giving it that colour, but yeah, I mean, it's a blend, there's no age statement on it, and well, it's pretty dark. It's got a bit of a rosy red tint to it, to be honest. It's not the most, I don't know, generic, let's say, aged Scotch colour, regardless of what age it is. But yeah, there's got to be some sherry or port cask influence in there somewhere, because it really is quite dark indeed. I'd be surprised if there's not. Aroma wise, that's big, sweet, figgy, cakey Christmas cake, but the heat, the smoke, it is a bit like a Christmas pudding with the brandy on fire all at once. Like, it is just that big, rich. It's got the distinct salinity, antiseptic TCP, and a bit of that kind of, I've always described it as, well, rural, and not in necessarily a good way, rural about Springbank products, but I like them, don't get me wrong. It's not a, it shouldn't be an admiring and kind of, you know, positive thing to say, given the way that it comes across, but ultimately it's what makes it so damn special. And there's a bit of it in there, but it's not too strong if you're a bit hesitant about that whole Campbeltown funk thing. But yeah, this really is going to ease you into it quite nicely, and I have to say, that smells just so very good. Right then, I've been waffling a lot. Let's give this a go, shall we? Cheers. Oh yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not the insanity of full Springbank. It's not the lusciousness of their cask strength. It's 46% this. But it's big, rich, sweet, hot but not burning. It's got a load of smoke character, but it's not over the top. It's... oh, I'll be honest, I'm just kind of kicking myself for not getting one sooner. It's a really weird thing, this, because if, like me, you've come off the back of drinking quite a bit of Springbank recently and trying the cask stuff and all the rest of it, and you know how just super premium that is, you would expect to walk into what is a, if we're being honest, a watered down version, right? It is. It's Springbank mixed with other stuff to try and make something more available, basically. And it shouldn't feel fantastic, but the blending job that they've done with that, they've filled the bits that aren't Springbank with insanely good complementary notes, is what I would really say. You can tell the Glen Scotia in there. It's that soft, that slightly creamier bit that's got all the hallmarks of their other stuff, which is often, you know, aged in bourbon and sherry and port barrels to make that sweetness, the big sweet bomb in there. And then at the end of it, sharp, spiky, foggy, funky. The sheep barn is there. It's quite a way away this time. We're not face down in the sheep barn, but you can just smell it. You can just taste it on the air. And again, it's not a bad thing. If I really am perplexed by this. I don't feel like, what was that, cola bottles? I mean, I'm not going to give you a full, proper kind of definitive, this is what it tastes like, because every sip I've taken so far tastes almost completely different. I'll try and reel off just a few. There's vanilla in there. It's kind of doughy, malty, bready, heaps of kind of cakey, sweet, kind of, you know, syrupy, black cherry, dates, figs, raisins, fizzy cola bottles. I mean, I'm just sitting here trying to remember now. There's a bit of a gingery note. This and ginger as a mix. If you were gonna, it's a 40 quid bottle, right? It's not sacrilege to mix it if that's what you're feeling like doing. It'd be blinding. It'd be absolutely insane. It's, yeah, wow. That's all I can really say. The problem we've got, though, with me being so enamoured with this, is that there's a good chance I can't get this again. And I don't mean I can't go get another one of these, because I can. I can order basically as many as I want tomorrow, right? They are infinitely available. And to be honest, if I ordered right now, yes, I probably would get one of these again. But each one of these is date stamped with when they've gone and done it. And because of the nature of the whiskies going into this, they are in a very, shall we say, volatile weather area. They don't make a huge volume of any of the stuff. You know, it's small batch blending, effectively. And I can't find the date stamp on this one now. Is it on the bottom? Tiny letters right at the bottom of there. I don't know if you're going to be able to even read that on the camera. I'm struggling slightly in real life. But this one is Campbeltown Loch, the 20th of June 2023. And it's 23/122 is the kind of ID number. Anyway, more waffling, apologies. It is small batch blending, which means actually each batch of these can be pretty different. And just to prove it, here is a sample from 2021. So you can see the colour difference. I know the bottle's going to be a bit darker because, well, you know, it's got a large format, but that is a wild difference. And it has been suggested to me that whilst no one thinks that one is necessarily better in terms of quality than the other, that some people might just prefer the 2021. So we're going to give that a little go as well to see how much difference there is in this lineup. I'm not going to drink a lot of it because, well, I want to save a bit. But you can see even in the glass, look at the difference in colour. This is the older, well, the earlier batched one. From the sample, and yeah, it's straw versus almost mahogany coloured, really. There are lots of sweeter notes on the full bottle that I've got. That's big, rich, figgy, and this earlier one is more like soft, delicate citrus. Creme brulee comes to mind as well on the nose of that. It's, yeah, a distinctly different character. Let's give it a go. Cheers. That feels more like a super well put together blend for a mass market. And that's not a bad thing, of course. More people will like that earlier one, I think. It's just less edgy, right? It's got less sharp notes, less high and low points. Still hot, still spicy. Less peat, I reckon, than the newer one. But a shed load less of the big, sweet, intense flavours. And personally, actually, I'm quite glad I've got the bottle that I've got because, and well, to be honest, I just think it has more Campbeltown character. It really is wildly different. You can see some real thin similarities are kind of across the baseline, throughout the middle of the whiskey. But where they go from that, completely different. And yeah, so be aware, if you're buying this, try and work out what it is you want. Because if you want something a bit tamer, a bit more down the middle that kind of any general Scotch fan might enjoy, try and get an earlier one. So this is a 2021 edition, December 21. Whereas this 2023 version, it's big, it's brash, it's dark, it's moody, and I actually think it's absolutely fantastic. Either way, whichever you can get, they're worth buying, but just be aware that they definitely aren't all the same. And that really is all I've got to say about it. I will, in a future video, pitch this against Springbank 10 to see exactly how much of that Springbank character has come through and whether it's kind of arguably not a rival but a decent make-do in the light of the fact that Springbank 10 is nigh on impossible to get hold of. But are there any others you'd like to know about, particularly Glen Scotia products or anyone else, you know, any other head-to-head tests, please let me know in the comments below. But that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.